Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And the rain is creeping in from the west. I'll show you when it will reach you and how much we'll see today and for the rest of the week.
Flesh-eating bacteria, dangerous microbes could be lurking in the water. What you need to know to stay healthy.
And breaking news, files and depositions. The Republican-led House issues subpoenas for the Jeffrey Epstein files. Why the move could set up a showdown with the president.
That light rain is likely on and off through our afternoon. This is a live look in Lewisburg. Good afternoon to you. It does look a little gloomy there. Skies gray. Waiting on a little bit of rain coming through just about everybody's area here today. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at a cool, wet pattern for the rest of the day, Elizabeth.
I've been watching this band of rain since about 3:30 this morning, and it's just been very steady from the Triad all the way down to Charlotte. As a matter of fact, there are some flood warnings and flood advisories back here north of Charlotte, which we'll talk about coming up. But it's been very, very slow moving. I mean, over the last 8 hours, it's really only moved in maybe one or two counties to the east. And so it's going to be slow moving as we head through the afternoon. And it may be that some of that just doesn't make it all the way across the viewing area. We'll zoom in, and we're definitely seeing some light showers in Durham, a little bit steadier here for Orange County as well as Chatham County. And then along the Virginia line, especially north of I-85, we're seeing some scattered showers there. Here's a look at Futurecast, and we'll take it forward from here. And you can see it just is very slow moving. By the time we get to 4 or 5 o'clock, it spreads a little farther eastward across the viewing area. But what we'll see mostly for us today is going to be fairly light. We're probably talking about, for most of us, a quarter of an inch or less. This is a look at our rain chances for this afternoon, looking at 3 to 9 o'clock at about a 40% chance. And then tomorrow, we have a better chance. It'll feel different tomorrow. It'll be a different pattern. It'll be a little bit warmer for us with a better chance for scattered thunderstorms. We're also watching the tropics. Tropical storm Dexter still has winds at 40 miles per hour, but it is headed out to the North Atlantic. We're watching the chance of a tropical system developing off the coast of the southeast later this week, and we'll take a closer look at that coming up.
We're following some breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center. The man charged with a series of shootings last fall along I-40 and near the NC State campus will not stand trial before he is treated for schizophrenia. That was a ruling from a judge about Andrew Graney. He committed him to Central Regional Hospital, ruling Graney is incapable to proceed with a trial. During that shooting spree last fall, 4 homes and 8 vehicles were hit with gunfire. 1 woman suffered injuries in that shooting. You can look for additional reporting on this story in our news starting at 4. You can also read the background of Graney and how police were able to finally catch him on WRAL.com.
All right, thank you, Ken. A so-called flesh-eating bacteria is getting attention right now because it put a man in the hospital. He was fishing in the Outer Banks when this all happened. WRAL's Chris Levengood joins us for that story. And Chris, we call it flesh-eating bacteria because of the scientific name. It might not catch many people's attention.
Well, I mean, Michelle, let's be honest, right? Vibrio vulnificus, it's not as memorable, right? Rebranding it as flesh-eating bacteria speaks directly to what it does. It's a specific type of Vibrio bacteria that put a fisherman in the Outer Banks in the hospital for a week. This is a photo that he sent to WRAL. Professor Rachel Noble in the Department of Environmental Sciences and Engineering at UNC says you should pay attention to Vibrio, especially if you spend time in shallow water. You could become infected.
And so if people become exposed to the water during that window of time, whether it's because they're recreating or fishing, or maybe they're working on the water because they are a seafood producer, those exposures can really increase.
As for the flesh-eating name, one of the side effects is necrotizing fasciitis. That's when bacteria aggressively destroys your skin and the tissue beneath it. Symptoms include reddened or discolored skin and body aches as well. And new figures from the state health department show there have been 59 Vibrio illnesses in North Carolina through July this year, and 1 death was reported in this.
And one other health note we're following here in the WRAL Live Center, it's actually a developing story out of New York City. Health leaders in Harlem confirming today that a second person has died from a growing Legionnaires cluster in New York City. Health officials say so far 58 people have been diagnosed with this water bacteria since July 25th. Now, the symptoms include cough, fever, chills, muscle aches, difficulty breathing, similar to pneumonia. Legionnaire's disease is caused by the bacteria Legionella that thrives in warm water. So people can get sick by just inhaling water vapors from, say, the AC units, even the shower if that water source tests positive for Legionella. Now, at least 11 cooling stations in that section of Harlem, New York, tested positive for Legionella. Those cooling systems have since been remediated and fixed. We will continue to follow the story here in the WRAL Live Center and, of course, online at WRAL.com.
Breaking news this noon, the Republican-controlled House issued a subpoena to the Justice Department for the Jeffrey Epstein files, a move that could set up a showdown between Congress and the Trump administration. Under House rules, Oversight Committee Chair James Comer could issue the request without a full House vote. It requests the documents on or before August 19th. The subpoena underscores the pressure President Trump and Republicans are under to release the files as the MAGA base continues to demand transparency. The Texas House plans to reconvene today at 2 o'clock after failing to reach a quorum yesterday. State Democrats left the state to block a Republican-led effort to redraw the state's congressional map. The change could give 5 additional seats to the GOP. Democratic National Committee chair vowed to fight fire with fire. Lawmakers in California are in talks to redraw that state's maps and flip 5 GOP seats.
This morning, Cumberland County election officials failed to reach an agreement on early voting plans for the November elections. The state will now have to step in and decide where and when people can go to cast their ballots for local races this year. The dispute comes as county election boards all over the state have recently switched from Democratic majorities to Republican majorities. The new GOP majority in Cumberland County considered cutting early voting availability at Cliffdale Recreation Center, a historically black part of West Fayetteville. That brought community activists like Demetria Murphy to today's meeting.
Got a text message at like 5:30 this morning, right, that they wanted to remove Cliffdale from the early voting site. And I'm like, that's insane.
Republican board members said only having one extra early voting site for Cumberland County at that location gave Democratic politicians an unfair partisan advantage. The State Board of Elections will meet later this summer to decide how to handle early voting in Cumberland County, as well as any other counties where disputes arise.
Traffic is flowing again on I-440 West after a backup that was caused by a garbage truck dumping a burning load of trash. This happened near the Lake Boone Trail exits around 5:30 this morning. Raleigh police say the fire started in the back of that truck, so the driver dumped the load to avoid damaging the truck. Backups lasted for more than an hour as crews worked to clean up that mess. A woman is seriously hurt after being hit by an SUV in Raleigh. It happened around midnight on Poole Road. The driver involved is cooperating with police. The woman who was hit was taken to the hospital.
Parents, we are just 20 days away until students return to school in Wake County. And today there's an opportunity to have your child vaccinated ahead of the school year. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains the push from health officials to keep students safe from disease.
Today, you can bring your child here to the Southern Regional Center to get vaccinated. These back-to-school vaccine clinics across Wake County are happening just in time for the first day of school. North Carolina law requires specific vaccines for students entering kindergarten, 7th, and 12th grade. These vaccine clinics are opening as immunization numbers are going down nationwide. Here's a breakdown of vaccination rates for Wake County kindergartners over the past 3 years. Last year's rate went up to just over 94%, but that's still below the 95% that's needed for herd immunity. Tina Payton with Wake County Public Health explains their message to parents about getting their children vaccinated.
Give us an opportunity to educate. What we see on the internet is usually a drastic opinion one way or the other. What we want to do is inform you and give you objective information that is scientifically supported so that you can make the best decision for not only your child, but the children and families that your child comes in contact with.
You can bring your kindergartner, 7th grader, or 12th grader to get vaccinated today. This clinic will be open from 5:30 until 7:30. If you want a full list of all of these back-to-school vaccine clinics, just head to our website, WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, in Fuquay-Varina.
A Johnston County priest is suspended because he was accused of hiring a prostitute. Johnston County deputies arrested Clemente Alvera Guerrero on church grounds around 1 o'clock yesterday morning. Deputies saw Jaquavius Brinson walking across the parking lot at St. Anne Catholic Church. The priest was then spotted leaving the building. The Diocese of Raleigh says Guerrero will remain suspended while he's investigated. And prosecutors say the man accused of killing a 10-year-old girl while boating drunk tried to get rid of the alcohol on his boat. Quentin Kite received 2 additional charges in court yesterday: recklessly operating a boat and driving impaired, causing serious injuries. 10-year-old Brooklyn Carroll died in the crash on Saturday. Jennifer Staley was seriously hurt. She lost her leg. Investigators say that Kite had been looking backward at a tube that he was pulling during that crash. Kite is in jail on a $500,000 bond.
A project to redevelop Heritage Square in Durham's Hayti community is on hold for now. Developer Sterling Bay withdrew its rezoning request for the project last night. It had planned to build lab space, offices, and residential units on that property. The developer also wanted to rezone it for taller buildings. People from the Hayti community expressed their concerns over the effect it could have on the historically black neighborhood there. Last night, the developer presented its entire case before then announcing its surprise decision.
The reality is a denial does not help the people of Hayti, but neither does 2 hours of public discourse when it's clear that the writing is on the wall. And so for that reason, we respectfully request that the council allow us to withdraw this case.
And Mayor Leonardo Williams plans to schedule a meeting in the coming weeks. He wants to discuss the future of that neighborhood where the project was planned.
Next at noon, Titan trouble. The final report on the doomed submersible. Who is blamed for the disaster that killed 5 people?
Also, the owner of the cargo ship that crashed into the Key Bridge is suing the maker of that ship. What's behind the lawsuit?
Plus, calendar change. The Wake County schools that could be headed off the year-round schedule and move to traditional.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Time to hop a flight. This is a live look right now. RDU International Airport Terminal 2. Some clouds hanging over that. We do have some rain in some places moving through our area. Shouldn't be anything that holds up a flight, though, as you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
A newly released report on the 2023 implosion of the Titan submersible says the deaths of 5 people on board were preventable. The U.S. Coast Guard Marine Board of Investigation was tasked with examining the June 2023 tragedy. The report lays much of the blame on OceanGate, the Washington-based company that operated Titan. The board lists inadequate design, certification, maintenance, and inspection process for the Titan as contributing factors. And the owners of the cargo ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge are suing the company that built the vessel. The owners of the Dolly are suing Hyundai Heavy Industries. The suit claims negligence in the design of a critical switchboard on the ship. The Dolly was leaving Baltimore bound for Sri Lanka in March of 2024 when its steering failed due to the power loss. 6 members of a road crew were killed.
This afternoon, President Trump is scheduled to sign an executive order creating an Olympics task force for the 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles. The group will be made up of members of the president's cabinet. The task force is expected to handle security and other issues related to the Games. The Games will start July 14th, 2028. The last time the U.S. hosted an Olympics was 2002 in Salt Lake City, Utah for the Winter Games. State Department is proposing changes for business and tourist visas. The agency wants applicants to post bonds of up to $15,000 to enter the United States. Under the program, people who are coming from countries with a high overstay rate may be subjected to post a bond if applying for a visa. Countries affected by the new proposal will be announced once the program starts.
Today's weather is due to a unique pattern in our part of the country. It's called cold air damming. So what is it? What does it cause? And how often do we see it? These are the 3 questions we are answering in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
Cold air damming is pretty unique to the Carolinas, and today we are definitely feeling it. Here's how the pattern usually goes. You've got a northeast breeze that rises up the Appalachian Mountains. Without those mountains, we'd just be sunny and dry on a day like today, but it creates this dome or this shallow layer of cool air. Now, on days like today, you get moisture that runs over that, and it creates the chance for some precipitation, which obviously this time of year is only going to be in the form of rain. But these cold air damming events, according to a 2016 study, they're pretty rare in the summer. Most of them happen during the fall and winter, with October and December being the months that they happen the most. And once you start to get toward the winter months, that's when you see those typical ice storm patterns in the foothills and the Piedmont, all traced back to this cold air damming. On a day like today, however, temperatures are about 10 to 15 degrees below average. We'll show you when things get a little bit closer to the average for August coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. And now we're going to turn to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking this band of rain. Elizabeth, you and I have been here since you earlier than me, but 4:30 this morning, we were still talking about the same band. It doesn't look like it moved.
No, it's been really slow moving. And so that's spelling some bad news for our folks, especially closer to Charlotte, where they've seen as much as 4 to 5 inches of rain. There's some flood advisories there. It's just been very, very slow to move eastward. Technically, with this band of rain, we were just looking at some light patchy rain, but because it's sitting in the same place and just not moving very quickly, definitely going to have some heavier totals in some of our western counties and much lighter, say, along the I-95 corridor, because eventually it's just going to fizzle out before all of it moves eastward. So you can see the green boxes there. This is where we have flood advisories that are in effect. That's up until about 1:15. So it does look like that, eventually this is going to start to taper off, but definitely some issues for folks there. We look here from Roxborough all the way up to Roanoke Rapids. We're seeing some showers there along the Virginia line, and then stretching back here just through our western counties where we have seen it raining for hours and hours. How much rain have we seen? Well, it's definitely been a whole lot back to the west, south of Charlotte through Rock Hill, South Carolina. 5 to 5.5 inches. From Charlotte towards Statesville, it's been closer to 3 inches. Nothing like that in our viewing area. But we have seen, north of Chapel Hill, north of Hillsborough, about 3/4 of an inch. And in the northern part of Moore County, about 1/2 an inch or so. Everybody else really just seen a trace, if anything. Here's a look at Futurecast, and you can see that rain back to the west very slowly. Some of that continues to slide eastward, but also just not as intense, not as widespread as what we've seen back to the west, but it will continue through the evening, at least on and off. We do have a flood risk, and it is a medium risk from Durham to Roxborough to Sanford to Siler City. This is where it has been raining since around 4 o'clock this morning. Lillington, Fayetteville, Smithfield, Lewisburg, it's a low risk, and then pretty much there's no risk, at least on this particular map, for Goldsboro, Rocky Mount, and up toward Roanoke Rapids. So tomorrow, it's a low risk on Wednesday and again on Thursday. The pattern's going to change, and we'll end up with some scattered storms. Some of those could be heavy at times, at least in pockets. Here's a look at Chapel Hill. Just some light patchy rain. I've been seeing some people walking around with their umbrellas, but a lot of people are just kind of braving it because the amount of rain that's falling is just so light. It's 72 in the Triangle with a dew point of 75, so it's still a relatively dry air mass. 66 in Roxborough, but 81 in Clinton, and we were expecting that. It's definitely going to stay a lot warmer in our southern counties than it will the farther north you go. So 78 Raleigh, 75 Durham, but 84 in Fayetteville. We're going to see a surge of tropical moisture that starts to push in during the day tomorrow as well as Thursday, and then a low may develop that helps to keep that going over the weekend. It's about a 40% chance that it has some tropical characteristics. You can see how it affects our muggy meter Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We bump it back up to steamy. Now, Tropical Storm Dexter is really not going to be an issue. That's going to continue to move off to the northeast. But we'll talk a little bit more about the coastal low that could develop and how it increases our chance for rain potentially over the weekend, coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. And staying on the topic of weather, cuts to the Weather Service. Did the Trump administration eliminate the agency that predicts floods? Today on WRAL News at 4, our PolitiFact team checks viral social media posts.
An animal shelter in recovery. The Nash County shelter is back open after it closed its doors because of a failed inspection report. Tonight at 6, where the county says help is still needed. Plus, still ahead this noon, tranquil travel. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains how passengers can eliminate airport mishaps with children.
And take a break. OpenAI takes action after reports of people using AI for therapy. How the company plans to help users prioritize their mental health. Whether it's a family reunion or a once-in-a-lifetime trip, flying with the whole family can really be convenient, right? But it can also be a little tricky, especially with young children and babies. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shares advice from seasoned parents and travel pros to help make your journey smoother for you, your baby, and everyone on board.
Flying with a small child or a baby isn't always the easiest thing. We know it, but there are some steps you can take to lessen that bumpy ride. First things first, pack lots of diapers. Think 1 per every hour of travel, plus extras for any delays.
It sounds like a lot, but when you factor in layovers, delays, and unexpected messes, you'll be glad you did.
Next, extra clothes for everyone, not just your baby. You can tuck extra outfits into 1 or 2 gallon bags. That makes grabbing clean clothes a whole lot easier. Also, snacks, lots of them. Bite-sized and easy to eat, dried fruit, cereal, pouches are good choices. And don't forget extra formula or milk for your baby. TSA liquid limits don't apply to baby food and formula. Use a backpack-style diaper bag so you're hands-free. And CR named this Dagny Dover Indy best for travel. For strollers, the ultralight Nuna Travel is perfect for gate checking and folding with one hand. Safety experts recommend using an FAA-approved child car seat. It is the safest option during turbulence, and it can make naps much easier too. And it sounds like a no-brainer, but don't forget to bring some toys to distract your baby, and also get to the airport early to give yourself and your child plenty of time. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
If you recently purchased frozen fruit from Sam's Club, it may be part of a recall. Some members mark freeze-dried fruit are being recalled over listeria contamination. Anyone who purchased the recalled fruit between July 1st and July 25th should throw it away. A full refund can be received at any Sam's Club location.
Customers can now buy a used car on Amazon. The company is expanding its auto business to include used and certified pre-owned vehicles, launching initially in Los Angeles. Dealers can list their inventory on Amazon and customers can browse deals. Amazon is promising customer protections, including a 3-day, 300-mile return policy and minimum 30-day, 1,000-mile limited warranty. Amazon is starting with Hyundai dealers, as it already has a pre-existing relationship with that automaker. First it was groceries, then rent, and now it is lip filler and concert tickets. The buy now, pay later usage craze has surged over the past year. According to a new Bank of America report, millions of young Americans are spreading out payments for things like Botox and cosmetic surgery. Companies like Affirm and Klarna are handling loans up to $20,000 with interest rates as high as 36%.
School calendar changes. It's a contentious issue for many parents. We'll break down the reason behind a proposal that could impact Wake County students.
Spiking animal surrenders, one of the main reasons pet lovers cite high bills at the vet. It's way up there. How owners can lower pet care costs. And we'll give you this look at our winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen right now. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Welcome back. We are less than 3 weeks away from the start of school for students on traditional calendars. We're counting it down for you. Wake County Schools is proposing to move 2 more schools, though, to new calendars next year because of population concerns. Officials will present this idea to the school board today. WRAL Education Insider Emily Walkenhorst joins us right now. And Emily, the district says they can save $200,000 by doing this. What are they really proposing here, though?
That's right, Jeff. Basically, they think they can save money on it because year-round schools are more expensive than traditional calendar schools. So these 2 schools in North Raleigh, North Forest Pines Elementary and Pleasant Union Elementary, right now they're below capacity. So the idea is if we shrink the number of days that we have students in the building, then we'll save money. They're estimating about $200,000.
Yeah, that's a big number right there. Parents and school staff are not happy about this, though, because we know they like to get those vacations in the off-peak times when not everybody has to go. What else are they saying about this?
Well, I mean, that's exactly it. They've really gotten used to this calendar, and they really see the breaks that year-round schooling provides as really good for, avoiding burnout, especially for staff. If you have, a shorter summer, but, 3 weeks in the spring or 3 weeks in the fall of time off, you can really decompress. And so they're really pushing to stay on a year-round calendar.
Yeah, that de-stress part of it would be huge with that calendar. Wake did this last year, right, with 2 other middle schools. What's going on?
Right. So they were also in northern Wake County. There were 2 middle schools that were also below capacity, but were operating on a year-round calendar. So the school system decided we should change them to a traditional calendar. It would save money. You could repurpose personnel in some ways. And so, it really kind of follows a pattern of a lot of these northern Wake County schools were placed on these traditional or year-round calendars, but then they just didn't end up being quite as over capacity as officials expected.
Okay, so a lot of questions to be answered, and we'll hear both sides of it in that school board meeting today, no doubt. WRAL Education Insider Emily Walkenhorst, thank you so much for that insight.
Well, back-to-school vaccine clinic is underway right now in Fuquay-Varina. It's one of several clinics set to open before the first day of the traditional calendar school year in Wake County. Today's clinic runs until 7:30. It's at the Southern Regional Center on North Judd Parkway. And Wake Schools is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year as a county-wide school system. White Wake County Schools and Black Raleigh City Schools merged in 1976. The first magnet school opened the year after that. It drew white students into Raleigh to attend a gifted and talented program at Hunter Elementary. School system leaders are planning events, service projects, and fundraising for student needs and programming.
Animal surrenders have spiked recently at shelters across the country. It's partially due to rising costs associated with owning a pet. Jen Sullivan explains, though, how you can lower your pet care costs.
At the animal care centers of NYC and Manhattan, crates line the hallways as the shelter is overcrowded with animals who desperately need a home.
We'd never turn away an animal.
Katie Hansen, the shelter's director of marketing and communication, says they're able to handle about 500 animals, but right now they have over 1,000. Some are able to stay with foster families.
It's been really tough.
She says shelters in the area have been inundated with animals as pet owners say they simply can't afford their pets.
This is really an affordability crisis.
The overcrowding is a crisis happening at shelters around the country, many posting about it on social media, hoping to help animals find a forever home. The high cost of vet bills is also burdening pet owners. The American Veterinary Medical Association says the rising cost of medical supplies, utilities, and pharmaceuticals is causing vets to charge more. But there are things pet owners can do to lower care costs.
If you start them on pet health insurance when they're young and you carry it through their life, that pet health insurance will help you if a catastrophic event happens.
Dr. Michael Bailey says car accidents and swallowing something they shouldn't have eaten are 2 of the biggest reasons for vet emergency visits. He says make sure your dog is always harnessed in the car. And keeping up with vaccines and preventative medication like heartworm can help their health in the long run.
Once they get it, it can not only be long and expensive, but it can shorten their life.
Ask your vet about payment options, and there are financial assistance programs out there. You can find information about it on the AVMA's website.
That was Jen Sullivan reporting, and many shelters are offering special deals and discounted adoption fees right now to help animals find homes. You can check your local shelter for details.
All month long, we are helping area animals find forever homes during our Clear the Shelters adoption event. Wake County Animal Center is one of the participating shelters, and here's the best part. They are waiving adoption fees now through August 31st. Give a furry friend a fresh start. To learn more and locate a shelter near you, go to WRAL.com/shelters.
How much chat time is too much? How ChatGPT is looking out for your mental health.
And it's been nearly 2 years since the devastating fire in Lahaina. How those affected are finally getting some much needed help. And download the new WRAL weather app and plan ahead for severe weather anytime. Turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. It is free wherever you download your apps.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we now know the cause of death of legendary rocker Ozzy Osbourne. The New York Times now reporting that Osbourne died of a heart attack based on information from a death certificate filed by his daughter in London. The paper is reporting the Black Sabbath frontman died of cardiac arrest, acute myocardial infarction, coronary artery disease, and Parkinson's disease. Osbourne died on July 22nd. He was 76 years old.
ChatGPT is prioritizing users' mental health. The chatbot will tell users to take breaks after using the platform for extended periods of time. OpenAI says the point is to make sure users have a healthy relationship with the chatbot. Users will see pop-up messages that read, "Just checking in, you've been chatting for a while," or "Is it a good time to take a break?" Users must click through the reminder to gain access back to the chatbot. And this year, hospitals have reported the highest number of tick bites since 2017. The CDC adds that the number of cases of Lyme disease are also on the rise. Experts say the increases are driven by warmer temperatures due to climate change and the expanding presence of ticks in more areas in the U.S. Lyme disease carrying deer ticks thrive in areas with at least 85% humidity. Prevention methods include wearing repellent and showering soon after being outdoors.
Unexpected ending. A summer festival goes out with a big bang. What led to this phenomenal finish? And don't give up. A devastating wildfire wiped out homes and businesses on Maui, and now many who didn't have adequate insurance are getting a lifeline.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we are following today. The man charged with a series of shootings along I-40 and near NC State's Centennial campus will not stand trial until he is treated for schizophrenia. A judge ordered Andrew Graney committed to Central Regional Hospital, ruling that he is incapable to proceed with a trial. During that shooting spree last fall, 4 homes and 8 vehicles were hit with gunfire. 1 woman was hurt.
A flesh-eating bacteria put a man in the ICU in North Carolina. He was fishing in the Outer Banks when this happened. Doctors say a small cut on his leg turned into what is known as a Vibrio vulnificus infection. It's a flesh-eating disease, and landed him in the hospital for a week. This man's recovery comes as cases like his climb across the state, with 59 illnesses like it through July. 1 person died. What your family should know about this risk the next time you head to the beach on WRAL's Evening News starting at 4.
A back-to-school vaccine clinic is underway right now in Fuquay Arena. It's one of several clinics set to open before the first day of the traditional calendar school year in Wake County. Today's clinic runs until 7:30 at the Southern Regional Center on North Judd Parkway.
5 Special Olympics North Carolina athletes are about to showcase their skills in a first-ever tournament. The Special Olympics North America Unified 3-on-3 women's basketball tournament will happen tomorrow in Indianapolis. These Special Olympics North Carolina athletes are from Wake, Durham, Orange, and Lee counties. They'll be competing against teams from all across the U.S. and the Caribbean. This tournament is a part of this year's Special Olympics North America Conference in Indianapolis.
Florida Panther forward and Newton, Connecticut native Mackie Samoskevich used his day with the Stanley Cup to honor the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre.
So this is the Sandy Hook Elementary School Memorial. I thought we'd just bring it back in honor of them.
Samoskevich and his 2 sisters attended Sandy Hook Elementary a year before the gunman barged into the school and killed 20 first graders and 6 staff members. He took the Stanley Cup to the Memorial Park near the site of the now demolished school. One of his school projects reads, "When I grow up, I want to be a hockey player."
How rewarding and sobering for him to be able to do that. The pups have names now. This summer, the Durham Museum of Life and Science introduced us to these 3 Red Wolf pups. The 3 brothers didn't have names, so the museum held a raffle to name them, and people helped us officially welcome Ember, Proton, and Scuppernong. The raffle winners thoughtfully chose those names to pay homage to the natural world, molecular science, and North Carolina's native flora.
Defunding the Weather Service. Did the Trump administration eliminate the agency that predicts floods? Today on WRAL News at 4, our PolitiFact team checks viral social media posts.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.